Good morning and welcome to the Sports Desk Live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook, and on the New Mexico Sports Network. Today, our special guest is St. Pius girls soccer coach David Sullivan Jr. He's got his Sardins at 10-1 and 4-0 in district, trying to go for a three-peat as far as championships go. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's definitely a pleasure to spend some time with you guys this morning.
Coach, I'll tell you, I got a chance to see your team. I saw them last week against Centennial. It's an impressive team, very impressive, especially defensively. I counted your goals given up, and there was a stretch of 5 games, and then 6 out of 7 where you didn't even give up a goal. Yeah. Centennial. Yeah. So the defense, you're averaging giving up 0.63 goals per game. You score 3.36 goals per game. You just had a breakout against Grants, 9 goals the last game, October 7th. Against Centennial, though, I thought that was a pretty big win. Now, Centennial, to be fair, was missing one of their better scorers, 10 goals. She didn't play. But Kiara Chavez didn't play until the second half. Kiara Chavez was nursing a hamstring, according to what her father told me, and you kept her out. But the minute she went in, she's got, 5 assists on the season, passed to Natasha Montoya. Natasha Montoya leads the Sardins in scoring, and right away you scored. Talk a little bit about that game. That was our most recent game that we did for you.
Yeah, so Kiara Chavez, senior, she wears number 12. She was dealing with a hamstring injury. Before the game, it was going to be a decision that was made by the athletic trainer on whether she could play or not. And during warm-ups, Kiara came to me and said, "Coach, I think it's best if we let it rest." So then there was about 20 minutes left in the game. It's tied 1-1, and Kiara comes up and said, "Coach, put me in." So I made her run across the field to go talk to the trainer, and I said, "The trainer needs to text me that you can play." And the trainer texted me that she could play, so she got about a 10-minute warm-up, got her into the game, and her first touch was off of a free kick. She headed it over the keeper to get us a lead 2-1. So yeah, I mean, fantastic player. She's the engine in the center of the field for us. She is a scrappy player, and I'm glad that she's playing for us and no one else, because I would hate to try to coach against her.
She came from Bosque, came as a transfer, and she's really, I thought that too. I thought, again, Natasha Montoya, 10 goals on the season, and she's, always around your defense. So we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm so impressed by the defense. Kiara Chavez has nine assists, 9 goals, 2 goals for Marisol Valdez, 4 for Gabby Gentet, 4 for Taylor Wilson and Natasha Montoya. You've scored 30 goals on the season with 30 assists, 10 goals for Natasha Montoya. And I just thought when Kiara came in, it gave you that boost. And you were leading anyway. So a 3-1 lead against when you're playing against your defense is like a 5-1 lead or a 6-1 lead. Talk about your defense. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. You talked about the Suarez sisters. Talk about your backline defense, because I'll tell you, most of the games that I've done 2 of them, only 2 of them, but most of them, the play has been on your side of the field. Even against Centennial, they got some attacks going. They did, but I thought most of it defensively. Talk about your team a little bit.
Yeah, so our back line, we have 3 of them that are returning from last year. And it's kind of unique. So last year in the spring season, we had one of our girls, Eva Suarez. She plays with a very high-level club team, and they had league games during our high school season. So she played 5 games for us throughout the spring season. She missed the championship game, but in the 5 games that she played, she would start with us. So that was really big coming into the season, returning 3 girls that started at least 50% of our games in the spring, where our defense was phenomenal. So coming into this season, we had Eva has a little sister, Karina. We call her Rena. Again, another high-level club team that she plays for. But she came in, won the starting spot, and she is small. You can tell she's a freshman, but the way that she plays is way advanced from that. So what we have on our lineup is 2 outside defenders, or Suarez, and then in the middle we have Enmarie Torres and Michael Torres, not related. But I think it's kind of cool there. So to talk a little bit about Emma Ray, she's been a 4-year starter for us. She started off at right back, and she can play pretty much anywhere. She's played center mid for us this season. And what her ability for us is anytime we need a tackle, like if she's the last defender and she has to win the ball, 99% of the time she comes away with the ball. Very smart when she has the ball, so she makes good decisions. Anytime that we try to build out from the back, if the ball's at her feet, we're going to connect that pass. And so she just gives us that luxury of being the last defender that's always going to stop any attack. She does a very good job of organizing the back line through communication. She's headed next year to play at St. Mary's University in San Antonio, Division II. So big things coming for her in the future as well. And then right next to her, we have a young lady that Michael Torres, and Michael plays softball. She's really good center fielder. And for her, flat out speed. I've seen maybe one or two girls that are faster than her. She can read the ball out of the air better than anyone in our group. So yeah, I mean, that back line, something we've talked about since day one was if we could figure out a way to score 2 goals in every game, we should win every game. And so at the beginning of the year, our opportunities weren't many. I think, the Cibola game, we had 2 shots in that game, and we scored both shots that were on goal. And our girls constantly telling coach, we need to work on finishing. And it's like, well, you're at 80% right now. So what we're working on is creating more opportunities. At the beginning of the year, when I was interviewed by the Journal, what we talked about was we needed to find someone that could score goals and have assists, because we graduated a fine young lady, Emma Donlin, who led the varsity team for 3 years in goals and assists. And, as you're reading those stats, I think the one thing that it's shown is that contributions are coming from everywhere. It's not just one player that we're leaning on. Natasha has done a phenomenal job. But yeah, getting key goals from key players in key moments, and it's not always the same, which makes it difficult for other teams to defend. But yeah, our back line is phenomenal. We have the only other 2 that I need to talk about when we talk about our back line is we have 2 goalkeepers. We have a junior in Gianna Maldonado. She was the backup keeper last year. She got some really good minutes, and she's playing really well. And then we have an incoming freshman that Kylie, the Talon. She has played absolutely phenomenal. She plays more like a sophomore than a freshman. Very strong leg. And yeah, she loves to play out of the back, which is the style that we're trying to accomplish.
You mentioned Gianna Maldonado, 25 saves for Gianna Maldonado, and Kelly Patalin has 8. And you gave her some good action the first half against Centennial. It was a non-district game, and she's in there. And I know you did it to give her some experience. And I'll tell you, she more than held her own. I thought she was a key there, because I know you're thinking that. Let's give her some action, right? Let's see how she handles it. Gianna is your number 1 goalkeeper, and she's always does a great job. That backline defense, you mentioned that, winning the balls, right? Winning they're going to win in this team speed. Against Valencia, I saw that in full effect. The team speed, you got some greyhounds. Some greyhounds in the open field like that. It's tough to beat your team speed.
Yeah. No, yeah. Again, having Michael in the back with the speed there. And then we have, Gabby Gentette, 4 goals. She plays on the wing areas. That's a girl that competed in I think I had 4 girls, 3 that are still here that competed in the spring in the 4x100 for the school. So yeah, definitely have some team speed. And again, I think really the key for this group is that they support each other. They're not afraid to let the coaching staff what they need. If we had an interesting scenario where this year I could tell that I wasn't getting through to the team. And so we spent a day to figure out how I could communicate better, how the coaching staff could communicate better so that we're all on the same page. And that was about 2 weeks ago. So yeah, going into the Centennial game, we were coming off of our first loss of the season, which was against Academy, and it was a lopsided loss at that, 4-1. So there were a lot of questions on how we're going to respond. And it was almost like they didn't miss a beat. I think it was a good little eye opener for them that, hey, teams aren't just going to roll over for you. That you're going to have to go in, we're going to have to play hard. And yeah, I mean, the girls are making it really easy from a coaching standpoint, because they're willing to do whatever it takes to get to that next step.
Two-time defending champion. That doesn't hurt right now. Let's go over your resume a little bit. 2002 to 2014, St. Pius Junior varsity head coach and varsity assistant. You've been in the program for a long time, Coach, 18 years, right? So then you got named a head coach in 2014. I've known you for a long time. My son went there. You're part of the culture there. There's a Pius culture, right? And then the soccer culture over there. I had a chance to do the boys game, and they're AJ Herrera. He won some championships, right? I bring Nick Madrid from Highland, who used to be a Pius guy, to do the color. And man, AJ wants to make sure, hey, you let him know I got championships too, man, right? So, right. And it made me laugh. And I told Coach Segura, the basketball coach, that, the former coach, and he said, hey, they got that competitive nature. And I'd say the same thing about your program. Excellence is expected. You expect to win. You expect to succeed. You've got some good players. You've got some good coaching. And I think that's something different. How do we communicate different? Sometimes I coach too, right? Is our message getting through? So what did you change? That's interesting to me that you thought that. What was changed? And again, you did have a faux pas against the academy. And I know going to Pius one year and my son going there, academy and Pius have that rivalry, right? What was it you changed about your communication that you felt is a little bit better now? And that's good that you did that. What did you change?
So I have what other programs would consider a large coaching staff. I probably have the most qualified and best assistant coach in the state. His name is Joshua Groves. He used to run, he was the director for soccer for the state of New Mexico through New Mexico Youth Soccer Association for a lot of years. And so he's been helping us the last 3 years. And he is from England, so he has a different vocabulary than us. And the girls seem to really, really be drawn to that. So I've kind of, for me, it's been taking a back seat and just leaning on the staff that I have. I have 3 female coaches, Taylor Archuleta, Abigail Tarin, and Jamie Shields, and they all bring something different. So, Abigail's a counselor at the school, so she understands how to talk with the girls, how to, something she does every day is what we call temperature checks. Just how are you doing today? I try to tell the girls, if we know you're having a bad day, let the coaching staff know so that we don't make it worse. And so she's done a great job of that. She has her ear to the ground. She knows when things are good and when things are not. And then I have the other one, Jamie Shields. She works at the Child Life program at UNMH. So she handles, kids that are potentially dying or have family members that are dying, and she counsels those kids to let them know kind of what's happening. And so again, just the way that anytime a kid gets injured, she's out on the field because she has that calming voice. She knows how to get people to understand what's happening. And so it's really a team effort. I can't take the credit. It's probably, if I had to say this year, it's probably my staff covering 70% of everything, and then I'm just picking up where I need to. So that was one of the big changes for us. And then, the girls, I think perspective is big. At halftime of the academy game, that was a week where we had homecoming, so there's a lot of distraction. And I think that was a great lesson for our program to learn, that when it's game time, it's game time, and everything else that's going on in your life has to be put to the side, and we just have to be in this moment. But, I think what it is that the expectations, like you said, are high. That loss that we had to academy, since the spring season started, we hadn't lost. And so I think our record in 2021 right now is 19-1-2. So again, one loss could be this idea that, hey, we're freaking out. And, I think the message for our program was, it was a great opportunity to learn. And again, they rebounded back, played exactly how they had played in the previous game. So yeah, I think the biggest changes were just getting the other coaches more involved, because we all have different perspectives and different coaching styles. And and then, since the loss, everything's been very, very positive. It's a positive atmosphere, which is easy because the girls, every time that we have practice, they bring great attitudes and they're ready to go.
Coach, gosh, fantastic explanation. What a versatile coaching staff you have, and you need that. We're going to take a break and talk more about St. Pius girls soccer after these messages on the Sports Desk.
Here is Porti, blocked in, and that'll do it. Emma Eden blocks in the point, and the Chargers take this one in 4 sets. Men split out wide, and we got Garcia on the motion. Melfi met in the backfield. He gets off a guy, can't get off the second.
Most of us do not have a 4th and 17 player.
Gerardo airs it out. Caden Valdez, he hits him. This will go for a touchdown.
What a nice play.
52-yard touchdown pass to Caden Valdez.
Looking for the end zone up the middle to McIntosh.
Oh, beautiful catch.
Touchdown Chargers. Martin McIntosh in double coverage. Snatched that one right out of the air.
That was a big time grab right there.
In the middle, Moore.
Woo, great dig.
Tipped over on the right side. Carlson, she's able to set Leyva for the match. Yes! Morales. That's beautiful. Ooh, and a nice block coming in. Here comes a run forward by Manzano. Only the punter to beat. It's Isaiah Garcia. And Garcia to the 20, to the 10, and the touchdown. That was set up by amazing blocking on the play.
To get on some type of rollout.
Chavez looking, still looking towards the corner of the end zone. It is caught.
Great catch.
Touchdown, little Nathan Lopez coming up big again. Big Nathan Lopez puts the Cougars on top as he sticks the landing. 14-7 Cougs. Armenta back to pass, up the middle, wide open. Jackson Hicks with the deep catch, and he's gonna go 80 yards for the touchdown.
All right, that may have been the PNM play of the game. We'll find out at the end of the night. There's a short catch. Up man caught it. He found a lane, coach. Uh-oh, here we go. Check it out.
It's a foot race.
Ramirez takes off. Can he keep it going? Touchdown, West Mesa.
Now they go quickly. Pressure is picked up nicely. They get it complete to Ludi Herrera again. Yards after the catch, Ludi Herrera. It's a foot race. Tristan Ludi Herrera wins most of those, and he does. It's a touchdown for the Spartans, and Tristan Ludi Herrera goes 50 yards on the score.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds.
International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
Welcome back to the Sports Desk, live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook on the New Mexico Sports Network. Today, our special guest is St. Pius girls soccer coach David Sullivan Jr. Coach, one of the things you said to me a couple weeks ago, I'll tell you what, I'm just very impressed by your overall coaching staff and your methods of coaching, because I mentioned to you during the break, sometimes the male ego doesn't let us step aside, man. It doesn't, really. It can be your worst enemy at times. You know, it really can be. And I've got that ego once in a while, and I've had to learn that sometimes my way maybe isn't the best way. And I think with the coaches you have and the things, the way the program is operated, again, success is expected. It's expected. The expectations have been drawn, right? They've been two-time champion, going for 3. Those things you're expected to succeed. And there's a reason why, though. There's reasons why winning teams win. But I wanted to ask you, one of the things you said to me a couple of weeks ago when we talked on the phone before I did one of your games was you mentioned Pius had led for like 400 minutes of a season. Mention that stat to me. I can't remember if it was 400 minutes, but you've been ahead for how many minutes of the season?
So it was going back to last year in the spring. And again, I'm kind of counting both years because it technically is the same year. But in the spring, I think we were losing for a total of like 70 minutes out of 12 games. And same thing with this year. I think, the academy game, it was 60 minutes, and then for Cibola, it was about 30. So we haven't been behind much, and I think the good news about that Centennial game was, we were up 1-0, then they knotted it up, and we were able to fight through the momentum change that Centennial had taken, and we were able to get ahead. And that was something that we were unable to accomplish, the week before against Academy. So, again, this defense, sometimes when you look at the stats, like the Cibola game, Cibola had probably 5 or 6 good opportunities. The other 6 were shots that were from distance, maybe some frustration. I can't tell you what was going through their players' minds, but we did a really good job of making it very difficult to be successful against us. And again, I think it's just this, expectation. We're built from the back. And again, these girls have high expectations. They hold each other accountable when they need to. But, one of the messages that we have been given recently with the team before the game is all of us are going to make mistakes. But that's why we have 11 girls on the field. They're going to fight for each other. And as long as we continue to fight for each other and back each other up, and, if you make a mistake, I'm right behind you to clean it up. We're in good shape.
And it's worked out very well. I wanted to ask you, you mentioned the Bachelor's of Science Coaching Performance in Football from Anglia Ruskin University. Now, you mentioned some of the things you learned there, because right now you're a full-time soccer coach. That's what you do as a job. And for a guy who loves basketball, man, I wish I could do that with basketball, right? I mean, that would be like a dream for a lot of people that love football or soccer or baseball. And so talk a little bit of what you learned, though, because you told me that at the football university, which is soccer, it was all soccer, everything soccer that you had to learn. So talk a little bit about that, because maybe that shaped some of your coaching philosophy. I'm sure that it did. Talk a little bit about that. Yeah,
so probably my favorite class that I took was sports psychology. And we had a gentleman by the name of Tom Bates. You can find him on Twitter. He was working with a bunch of professional teams. I think this last Olympic season, he was out there with some of the Olympians from England. And so, for me, what I learned, probably the biggest takeaway from that degree was that at the highest level of soccer, the advantages now are so minimal. And so really the biggest advantages right now are nutrition and sports psychology. These are the things that we can tweak to get them, get the edge, right? So that definitely is a class that I'm interested in. That's potentially something that I want to continue on and get a master's degree in. because I feel like it's something that is overlooked often by coaches, the mental health of our kids. And again, with this group, trying to keep them grounded. Everyone knows what our goal is, but something that was brought up is we don't talk about that. We're not talking about it. We're going to face one game at a time, and when that time comes, then we can talk about it. But just trying to keep our eyes focused on the game ahead of us. Some of the other things that I learned that were very beneficial, and I use this more for my club at Rio Rapids, is we had a strength and conditioning class. I had to go to England one summer, and we had to participate in the conditioning, which wasn't my finest moment. But that teacher was also working with a professional team at the highest level in England, and he gave us his blueprint to get a player who just went on vacation 5 weeks before a season to get them able to play 90 minutes. So I use a lot of that stuff with the club. This summer, that was our focus, was doing these exercises. All the fitness is with the ball because we play with the ball. So it's not, we don't run laps. We don't do those things. So everything is working on our technical ability while also working on our fitness. And then probably the other thing that I really took away is we had an anatomy class that was very specific to the most common soccer injuries. So we went over, the back, the hips, the legs. We went over upper body injuries, which are rare in our game, but it was really focused on injuries that a soccer player would have. And then I had to pick an injury. I had to diagnose the injury, and then I had to come up with a treatment plan for us getting back on the field. And the injury that I chose was ankle sprain, because those happen all the time. That degree program was very beneficial in my coaching. It got me to, that's something that they kept reminding us, is you're no longer a coach, you're a sports scientist, and you have to look at the game through a scientific lens. The other thing that is, someone I haven't mentioned that we truly wouldn't be where we are today without her is our athletic trainer, Dr. Juanita Marquez over at St. Pius. We have a very good relationship. We probably talk on the phone more often than she would want, but if she tells me this player can't play, or if we're unsure, I just lean on her experience. I'm not a trainer. I don't pretend to be a trainer. So I'm very aware of what I know and what I don't know, and in what I don't know, I rely on the people that do know. So
yeah, of course, her sister Ronnie, the girls softball coach there, does a fabulous job. I got a chance to do some of their games. One quick more question. I loved your explanation. I wish I could ask you more. We're running out of time here, but what's it going to take for the Spartans to three-peat here? You got 2 straight championships. It's hard to win 1. People don't understand that. Hard to win 2. 3, what's it going to take for St. Pius to finish the job here in 2021?
Well, this is probably going to be the toughest one of the 4. Last year's was tough just because of the circumstances, but this year, Los Alamos, we played them. It was a 1-0 game. They're a great team. Hope we haven't played, but we do know a lot about Hope. They're young and they're very good. And then we know that Academy has given us our 1 loss. So I think for us, it's take one game at a time. The girls need to continue to believe in each other, and we just need to stay focused. As long as we're all rowing in the same direction, we should be able to get to where we want to go. But at the end of the day, whether we're successful or not this year, that's not the biggest thing. It's for us, it's about playing together. We have a fantastic group of seniors that, it's for us, it's about doing everything we can. And as long as we did that, regardless of the result, I'm extremely proud of these girls. Again, they put up with me on a daily basis, which is hard to do. I think for us, it's just continue to stay positive, continue to believe in ourselves. Defense wins championships. That's our motto. And hopefully we can continue to hold teams to no goals or 1 goal. And if we can do that, I know that on the offensive side, we're starting to get that chemistry. I'm very confident that we can score 2 to 3 goals a game. And if we do that, things take care of themselves.
Coach Dave Sullivan,
stay healthy. Gotta stay healthy.
Yes, sir. Coach Dave Sullivan, Sergeants are 10-1, 4-0 district. They've got Valencia this afternoon. Best of luck in that match, and thank you so much for joining us on the sports desk.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure, and hopefully I can come back some other time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For producer Alden Iwani, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll see you next week on the sports desk.